Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Pretty Pink Posh has a brand new release. To help celebrate the release, they have a fun blog hop. There's lots of inspiration from the design team and guest designers, plus a chance to win a Pretty Pink Posh gift card. For more information about the hop and how to qualify to win, head over to my blog at KristieMarcotte.com, and I also have a link in the description box. For my card, I'm using several items from the new release. I have the stitched pumpkins. I'm using a few things from the Halloween mug editions, the Sentiment Strips die set, Sentiment Strips Halloween, and I'm also using a couple of older items, Wonky stitched rectangles, and the stencil is Starry background. I have a piece of white shimmer cardstock in my mini stencil mat. The ink color is by Catherine Pooler. This is Do-Si Do. And I'll cover the entire background with some pretty light pink stars. After I've gone over the entire stencil with ink, I'll lift up the stencil to see if there are any areas where I need to add a little more ink. And I decided the top right hand corner needed to be just a little bit darker. Now I'll use the largest size Wonky rectangle die to cut this piece out. I'll layer it on some dark brown cardstock. I'm putting ATG tape on the back and also some glue along the stitched edge, and that'll help it lay nice and flat. Then I'll flip over this panel, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. This is an American Standard A2 size card, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. Now I'll set that aside and start working on the adorable pumpkins. The new stitched pumpkin set has 3 different sizes. I cut out one of each from some pretty pink cardstock. I'm adding a little extra ink to the edge of each of the pumpkins. I'm using Catherine Pooler's Party Dress ink color. I had several different blender brushes in front of me, and I think I grabbed the red one at first. So I switched it out with a brush where I've used pink ink. I enjoy using traditional colors on my cards, but sometimes it's fun to use non-traditional colors, and I couldn't resist making some fun pink pumpkins. Once I finish adding ink to all 3 pumpkins, I can start assembling them. I've already cut out all of the other die cut pieces. The larger and smaller pumpkin will get the vine, a leaf, and a stem, but the medium-sized pumpkin, I'm adding some decoration to make it a little cat pumpkin. And the dies for the cat are from the Halloween mug editions. I'll first add the black ears behind the top of the pumpkin. Next I'll add the stem. I cut out the inside of the ears from some light pink cardstock. I'll glue those down. I use black cardstock for the piece that has the nose and the mouth. I also use black cardstock for the whiskers. And I misplaced one piece, but luckily it was just off on the side of my desk. I'll adhere the whiskers on the right first, then the set on the left, trying to adhere them down evenly. For the nose, I cut it out of pink glitter cardstock, so the kitty has a sweet little sparkly nose. I am using a pair of reverse tweezers for all the small die cut pieces. Next, I'll add the eyes. I cut out the main eye from some white cardstock, and I use black cardstock for the pupils. And the pupils are very small, so I'm using an embellishment wand to pick those up. I first put a small amount of glue on the eye, then I'll press the black piece in place. I'm using the other end of the embellishment wand to help straighten up the tiny die cut piece. I'm using the other end of the embellishment wand to straighten out the die cut piece. I don't know how I ever crafted without an embellishment wand before, and this type has been my favorite. Now I'll work on the large pumpkin. I'll attach the stem first, then I'll put a small drop of glue at the end of one of the vines, adhere that behind the pumpkin, then I'll add the larger leaf in the front on the left side. And I'll do the same thing for the smaller pumpkin, just using the smaller vine and the smaller leaf. I'll add some thin foam dimension on the back of the cat pumpkin. I'm using Honeybee Stamp's thin foam strips. Now I'll add all 3 pumpkins to the front of my card, starting with the larger pumpkin. I'll put glue on the back and adhere it on the left side of the card. putting it up high enough so I'll have space to add a sentiment. I also put just a drop of glue underneath the little curly Q of the vine so it lays flat. Next I'll add the smaller pumpkin on the right side. Then I'll remove the release paper on the foam and add my cat pumpkin in front. And I'm adding it a little bit lower than the other two pumpkins. For a sentiment, I stamped Trick or Treat on some light pink cardstock and I cut it out using Pretty Pink Posh's Sentiment Strip die set. This is a great set and it has a nice variety of different sizes for your sentiments. I have foam dimension on the back. I'll remove the release paper and adhere it in the lower left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make two using this design. I love how this card turned out. I think the pink pumpkins are just adorable. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Pretty Pink Posh has so many fun new products, and if you want to check out the entire release, I do have a link provided below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.